Venus Folding Trance channel here today for day number 6 of 40 Days and 40 Nights with Jesus. Let's see what he has to say to us this morning. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and the information that is coming your way from mainstream media at this time is always distressing. It is always distressing, and it is designed to be so. What we want you to understand today is that over the next few months, you are going to see a lot of negative news coming across the bandwidths of your televisions and your computers. And it's very important for you to look at it with calmness and not to become overly involved in it. Now, what happens with most people, because they have not been taught how the mind works, they will see something on the news, let us say lots of fires in the Western United States, and they will immediately put themselves into that position in their minds, and they will begin to feel fear, or they will begin to feel bad for those beings that are being affected by these incredible events. Now, what we want you to understand is that if you start to feel bad because of what's happening, you have slipped down into the battlefield, and now your energy is not your own. It is belonging to the negative system. What we would like you to do when you see the events that are going to be broadcast over the next little while, what we would like you to do is intentionally focus your mind on love and healing. Instead of wringing your hands and thinking, it's a terrible thing, these people have lost their homes, these animals have lost their homes, and feeling awful, this is what you've been taught and primed to do. You've been told that this is what love looks like. In fact, it is not what love looks like. It is jumping into the suffering of others voluntarily. There will be a part of you that when you hear me say this will think, oh, this cannot be Jesus. He would never ask me not to feel sympathy for others. That is not what we are saying. What we are saying is that there's a profound lack of love on your planet, and the destruction and the orchestration of that destruction lacks love. So the only solution to that is a high frequency bombardment with love. So when you see these images, or when you hear about riots in certain towns or these kinds of things, what we want you to understand is that your loving contribution will be a moment of peaceful and intentional sending of love to those people, places, and experiences. This is not something that you're necessarily trained to do. The mass media systems like to milk your energy systems, bombarding you with negatives, bombarding you with fear, pushing down your frequency into the realms of the battleground where it can be used. These dark systems use energy. Just as light systems use energy, love and healing and connection to the divine, so too do dark systems. These are, however, deeply ensconced in the dualistic realm, and you can raise yourself above the dualistic realm by prayer, focused intention of the mind, your forgiveness practice, which is in this case looking at the world and saying, this is the ego's playground. Of course it's going to look like a disaster. This is the ego's playground. I will not join in and be harvested in that sense. My energy will not be harvested in that sense. So when we speak about this being a place of separation and the default setting being not love, that is why the world looks the way it does. It has also been pushed further and further towards separation over the last few decades intentionally using your movies and media systems. So if you look back over the last couple of years, what you will notice is that on the news there is one crisis after another. There are fires in Australia, then there is the global warming fears, then there is financial fears, and then there are disasters hither and yon, one after the other, one after the other. And you forget because you are being manipulated. So for all of you that are still watching the news, and we would recommend that you do not watch the news, but it is very much the ego's playground. Your ego likes to look at the news. Why? Because it feeds on fear and separation and disaster and attack. That is what the ego likes. It is part of the separation experience. So when you indulge in looking at these disasters, repeatedly going to your media systems to see what's happening, how many people have died. We say that the ego is obsessed with death. It is its friend. And that is why many beings are tuning into mass media systems constantly. How many people died today? What disaster is happening today? That means that you are in your ego and you are being manipulated by that ego. You must use your free will to say no more. You must use your free will to say, I choose love no matter what the movie is playing out on that screen. Because the movie on the ego's movie screen is always disaster, always death, always mayhem. And if you keep watching it, you will be dragged down into the battleground. We must emphasize that you must choose with your free will to look at the good, to look at the lovely, to invest your time and focus into that which is healing and beautiful. There are some beings who are assigned the task of looking at the current situation and translating it into spiritual teachings. But 99% of you do not need to be looking at this. You do not need to be diving down into the dirt with other egos. So we challenge you today to prepare for no disaster watching. No disaster watching allowed. No disaster watching permitted in the loving mind. It causes you to suffer. It does not necessarily cause you to suffer the moment you're doing it, but it takes you down in frequency, and if you do it repeatedly, it will continue to take you down and down and down. And then you will have negative experiences, not associating it with what you have been watching, not associating it at all. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and I'll speak to you again later. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you again later. Bye.